Hello everyone, here's what's coming up tonight on News Center Now. Snow stopped some, but not all, from participating in the National Student Walkout. Hear what they say needs to change. Plus,
it's been quite a winter and quite a season.
What's the deal with all these snow days? We're finding out if they'll eat into summer vacation. And
the snow will certainly help Tennyson Coleman on his next adventure. See what he's trying.
This is News Center Now.
This is kids' lives we're talking about.
1 month after 17 people were killed in a school shooting in Florida, students nationwide and in Maine are demonstrating their desire for stricter gun laws. Good evening, I'm Chris Costa in for Lee Goldberg.
And I'm Lindsay Mills. Today's National School Walkout put on hold in many Maine communities due to school cancellations from snow.
Still, many participated and say expressing their opinions today is crucial towards the change they say is necessary. At high schools and on downtown streets, a mixture of silence and noise.
Today we are here to take action.
This is kids' lives we're talking about.
With snow blanketing most of the state, closing the majority of Maine schools, few students got to participate. But those who did made their point clear.
It's our school, it's our safety, and we can be in charge of that.
Students at Yarmouth High School leaving class for 17 minutes, 1 minute for each person killed in the Parkland, Florida school shooting.
Silence is no longer an option.
I was awestruck. I was so proud of my town and my community for coming together.
Seeing so many kids my age stand up and say enough is enough inspired me to do the same.
Administrators there also supporting students who chose not to participate with a break from class.
You need to provide space and time for all students to express all beliefs in a respectful, peaceful way.
In Freeport, school was closed, but a last-minute social media effort organized teens on Main Street.
It seems like such a closeted topic that no one wants to address, but it's ridiculous that we're doing nothing about it.
It's been made a political issue, but it's just about safety. It's about caring about education and caring about the future, because we are the future.
In York, the walkout is the first event for a new student organization aimed at making schools safer.
There are things that every party can support that we could be doing, things like background checks and gun safety courses that every American wants, because no American wants to see school children be shot in their classrooms.
Even college students at Colby and St. Joseph's taking a stand.
Meadow Pollock, 18.
At St. Joe's, 17 empty backpacks lined the hall for the lives taken in Florida. The mixture of silence and noise, voices across the state speaking for those who could not.
One voice can make a change, but 100 voices like we had today are really making a movement.
Lots of people are weighing in on social media about this nationwide event. John Balzerini says, why don't the kids stop walking out and start walking up to troubled and withdrawn kids who need a friend? Spread kindness instead of placing blame.
Amy Walsh says speaking up against injustice is the most patriotic thing any of us can do. Well done, kids. Keep working for what you believe.
TJ Cuppernell says he'll keep his guns, and kids need to focus more on treating each other better instead of protesting guns. Walk up, not out.
And Janet Corcoran posted, standing up for what you believe in is part of being an American. I just hope these kids know why they're there and aren't just blindly following others. Has it stopped yet?
What are you talking about?
The snow, the storm that just never seems to end.
It certainly feels that way, doesn't it? Keith Carson can answer that question. And so, Keith, for people who don't like snow, it sounds like they're out of luck.
Yeah, into the future as well. But it's still snowing across much of the state. It's just the coastline that's starting to clear out. But you look into Skowhegan and up into Rangeley and Rumford and Kingfield here, still snowing. And in fact, a couple of good bands across northern Maine still into Aroostook County. Some of these are on the moderate side. Now, it has been a little bit hard to accumulate the snow during the day today, which I'm sure is really crushing people, right? But snowing all day, not doing much accumulating. The reason for that, temperatures, but also the sun angle. I know it sounds strange because there isn't much sun out there, but it tends to get through the clouds to some degree, warm up the pavement and whatnot. That's why it's so clear in a lot of spots, despite the fact it snowed so much. Temperatures in the 30s, upper 30s in Portland, 35 in Wiscasset, and 34 degrees right now in Bangor. So snow continues tonight for the mountains and into the foothills. Even in through early tomorrow morning, the snow's still there in some of the higher terrain, now on a northwest upslope flow. A couple of flurries still along the coastline tomorrow morning. This system just doesn't want to really go away. It will start to do so, though, by tomorrow afternoon as we start to see more sunshine, temperatures upper 30s and low 40s. But notice again, it continues to snow into some of the high terrain through Thursday afternoon. Temperatures stay around 40 through later in the afternoon, then they drop back down. Friday is a bright day. Of course, good news for the higher terrain where they like to see the snow. Some reports of 2 feet already. All right, but for the rest of us, guys, you may not enjoy the forecast I'll give you for the weekend and thereafter. It does not feel like March. We'll talk about it in a few minutes.
Oh, man. All right, Keith, thanks. Well, some say hooray for these snow days. Others fear at this point summer vacation will never get here.
From the October windstorm to the cold snap in January and now back-to-back storms, school officials statewide are now trying to figure out how to handle the high amount of cancellations this year.
As it happens, students are saying, oh, call a snow day, but then they start to realize, I don't really want to be going that late in June.
South Portland Superintendent Ken Cunin says his district builds snow days into the school calendar every year.
We anticipate having 5.
This school year, they've had 7.
We schedule 176 days, so we can go back to the board and ask to drop down to the state minimum of 175, so that right now we'd be ending on June 20th.
As of Wednesday, students in Bangor will also be in class until June 20th. Superintendent Betsy Webb says her district has had 8 storm days, but was able to slide 2 what they call teacher in-service days to the end of the year, buying back 2 days for students. In Bethel, 11 cancellations. Students there will be going to class an extra hour every day for 25 days, the maximum the state allows. According to the Maine Department of Education, every 5 extended days counts for 1 makeup day. And in Lewiston, weather conditions force students and teachers to stay home for 9 days, the most Superintendent Bill Webster has seen in his 12 years with the district. Next week, he'll propose to the school board a plan to add an hour to certain school days. Back in South Portland, school officials are hopeful next week's forecast will change.
We're really doing the rain dances and hoping for that, but we'll just have to deal with that if it comes. And we'll have to look at other options, which would include extending some days by an hour, looking at a Saturday, and looking at an early release day in May.
And of the 4 school district officials we spoke with today, none brought up the idea of dipping into April vacation, which is approaching soon, believe it or not.
You hear the concept of a snow day and so many kids get excited about that, but then on the flip side, it's, well, you could end up going to school on a Saturday.
Right.
Which blows my mind. But
even an extra hour added on every day at some of these districts is a lot with all the extracurricular activities that kids have to also juggle. It's a lot.
Yeah.
All right, well, we have a massive car recall to tell you about right now. Ford recalling nearly 1.4 million midsize cars in North America. The recall covers certain Ford Fusion and Lincoln MKZ models from 2014 through 2018.
The auto company says the steering wheel can detach due to loosening bolts, causing drivers to lose control. Ford says it knows of 2 crashes and 1 injury reportedly related to the defect. Dealers will replace the bolts with longer ones. Additionally, Ford is also recalling about 6,000 cars due to a potential clutch pressure plate fracture that could pose a fire risk. The vehicles affected in that recall are certain Ford Focus models from 2013 through 2016, as well as some Ford Fusion models from 2013 through 2015.
All right, Coco, I don't know if you're ready for this story. Today marks the start of the NFL's new year, and reports are circulating that multiple Patriots are set to leave the team.
And it's a lot of team favorites, too. Danny Playoff Amendola leaving the Patriots, but staying in the AFC East. The free agent receiver expected to sign with the Miami Dolphins. Super Bowl 49 hero Malcolm Butler reportedly leaving to sign with the Tennessee Titans, as is running back Dion Lewis. And offensive tackle Nate Solder is set to sign on with the New York Giants.
Okay, times are changing. Well, all the snow we've been getting has been great for skiers and snowboarders.
Later, one of our own decides to give it a try for the first time.
the universe is an awfully large place, and we are a very small detail.
World-renowned British theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking passed away this morning at 76.
Hawking's brilliant mind ranged across time and space, though his body was paralyzed by disease. NBC's Keir Simmons tells us his story from London.
British physicist Stephen Hawking exploded onto the world stage with some big theories of his own in A Brief History of Time, a 1988 runaway best-selling book turning complex matter into relative simplicity for the masses. He set the agenda for science today by uniting the two great theories of the universe, relativity and quantum theory. Born in 1942 in Oxford, England, Hawking wasn't a whiz kid in the classroom growing up and didn't really get serious about his studies and physics until his college years at Cambridge. During that time, he was diagnosed with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, the debilitating disorder robbing him of mobility, confining his body to a wheelchair, his voice eventually to a machine.
Being on a ventilator has not curbed my lifestyle.
His quest to explore and experience insatiable, including this 2007 zero-gravity flight. Hawking concluded our universe began about 15 billion years ago with a Big Bang, time starting simultaneously. Ultimately, the universe will collapse, he argued, while time marches on, until the end. Given just 2 years to live after falling ill at age 21, Stephen Hawking packed an incredible lifetime of achievement in the decades that followed, beating the odds. You know, in a world right now where people can seem a little small-minded, Stephen Hawking offered us a different way of thinking. My goal is simple, he once said. It is a complete understanding of the universe. And describing his life, my expectations were reduced to 0 when I was 21. Everything since then has been a bonus. Back to you.
An interesting fact about Stephen Hawking. He was born on the 300th anniversary of Galileo's death, and his death falls on Albert Einstein's what would have been his 139th birthday.
All right, weather-wise, one thing we have going for us, so I guess it's not really weather-related, it's still bright outside right now. A snowstorm may be on the way next week. Keith's getting us ready next. Learning to ski or snowboard is kind of a rite of passage in Maine.
And we have one member of the Now team who is determined to become an honorary Mainer.
So this week on Tennyson Tries It, Tennyson takes another step in his quest to fit in with Mainers, and he hits the slopes.
Life is all about facing your fears, so that's why on this edition of Tennyson Tries It, I'm learning how to snowboard.
Spring is almost here, which means just a few more weeks of winter fun. Thanks to recent snowstorms, people are still flocking to ski resorts all over Maine. It's no different at Herman Mountain.
I love winter, and I love snowboarding, and I grew up on this mountain. I started here when I was 4, and this is my home.
Emily Walker is a snowboard instructor at Herman Mountain. The sport runs through her veins.
I love that I can get kids outside and teach them how to love winter because we live in Maine and we have so much winter.
I've always thought snowboarding is one of the coolest things someone could learn to do, but as I soon find out, it's also one of the hardest.
So you've skied once or twice?
Yep.
So this is what helps us turn when we're snowboarding. So we use the heel edge of our board and the toe edge.
Gotcha.
All right?
It's like dancing. Heel toe?
Yeah,
little heel toe?
Right.
Before I get strapped in, Walker teaches me, a rookie, the basics of the board.
As tight as possible.
Then I have to get used to having the board attached to my foot.
So we take a step with our foot and a step with our board, and we're going to keep doing that until we get up there high enough to come down.
Oh my goodness. As we hike a few feet up the hill. Once I'm fully strapped into the board, my first lesson is learning how to make it down a small hill without falling. Yeah, so about that. It definitely took me a while.
Whew, that was a little better, right?
Next, I learned how to turn, picking up on my heels to go left, picking up on my toes to turn right.
I feel like I'm doing the Michael Jackson here.
As you can see, I still have a lot to learn. Walker says it takes a few lessons to be good enough to hit the actual slopes, but I did make some progress after an hour.
Well, I never thought in a million years that I'd actually learn to snowboard, and to be honest, I'm not fully there yet, but I'm on my way. And you know what I always say, if I can try it, so can you. Here goes nothing.
Attaboy, Tennyson. That's awesome.
Hey, you know what they say, it ain't easy being steezy. I still have some learning to do that.
Yeah, do you think channeling that Michael Jackson helped you accomplish some confidence on the slopes?
It helped me to think about how I needed to keep my balance. You know, I love a good Michael Jackson dance-off, so any way to throw that in there.
And you had 2 gloves on. I feel like if you're doing the Michael Jackson, you have to go 1.
Right, exactly.
You know, you're right, and it has to be golden or silver sequin, and I actually have one at home.
Does it match the blazer?
Awesome. Yeah, the gold
blazer. I have one more. I have one thing I want to say really quickly, and that is last week was the 1-year anniversary of New Center Now. Tomorrow will be the 1-year anniversary of me coming to Maine, and I just want to thank the viewers and you guys for showing me love over the last year.
Awesome, cool.
A little sentimental.
Awesome. He's easy to love.
Yeah. Keith says, Tennyson, you are easy to love.
Can we get Tennyson tries a helmet next time, though? I don't think that.
Keith's very worried about safety.
I don't think you should be trying any kind of winter sport without a helmet.
It sounds like you're going to be a dad any day here at this point.
I'm just saying. Jeff's a big skier. Jeff behind the skis. You got to wear a helmet. You got to wear a helmet. Yeah. All right? It's just.
It is actually.
It's actually one of the first things that when I see someone on the mountain without it, I'm like, they don't know how to do. They don't know how to ski. Anyways, hey, look, it's
helmet
snow.
shaming.
Look at some of these snow amounts, guys. Wow. Look at Holden. Wow. Holden for the win, I guess, if you're into that kind of thing. Yeah. Is that where you were?
Yeah, you're in Holden.
Yeah. 27 in Jonesboro, and Portland actually in the relatively low end of the scale, 14 inches of snow, low end. At 14 inches. All right, still snowing out there. We told you this would be persistent, but we also told you that most of its damage would be done yesterday. That's certainly been the case. A lot of this snow has been ineffectual along the coastline and interior, meaning it's not really accumulating. However, in the mountains, it is still accumulating. We're just taking a look at some of the web cameras out in Carrabassett Valley and into Sunday River's webcam as well, and it looks like it's still sticking there and across northern Maine as well. A couple of heavier bands still left over in Aroostook County. It will take until later on tonight into early tomorrow morning to get rid of these. In fact, even along the coastline, watch this tomorrow morning. Some snow and light snow showers here tomorrow morning early before they rotate out. We start to get into some sun by tomorrow afternoon. Temperatures in the low 40s along the coastline, upper 30s farther inland. And then Friday should be a decent day as well as far as sunshine goes. Temperatures in the upper 30s at best, probably a little bit cooler than that. And that's a theme we're going to see here, is that it's not going to be that warm even when we get the sunshine in there. But before we get there, let's talk about what everybody's talking about. Are we going to get another storm next Tuesday? Of course, we don't know because we're still 6 days out. But let me show you 2 computer models, the main ones. The GFS computer model, there it is, Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday night. All right, fine. What does the Euro say? Let's see, what do you got, Euro? Looks kind of similar to me on Tuesday night into Wednesday. So we don't know for sure. Certainly all the models are keying into the same thing, and that's not a great sign if you don't want to see another storm next week. In between, it's going to be cold on Sunday and Monday. Look at Sunday morning's low temperatures. 7 in Portland, 5 in Augusta, and honestly, I think we could get below 0 in the mountains on Sunday morning and maybe again Monday morning. Now the disguise is making more sense, isn't it, guys? Yeah. The hiding that I was trying to do there. Because I think most people will deal with March snow saying it'll melt quickly. Yeah. Well, it doesn't really melt quickly if it's 5, but probably get rid of a lot of it before we get to that 5 degrees. Because I don't know if you guys noticed this today. We were only 34, 35 degrees, but still we were melting on the sidewalks and it wasn't accumulating on the road. Whereas in January and February, that's going to stay there. So the sun is working through all the clouds still, trying to get rid of it, trying to burn it. So we'll see, but next week could be yet another one. That's my birthday also, so
oh man,
I'll be out there enjoying that one. We'll
That's
keep an
your
eye on
gift
it.
to Maine, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I
More
guess
cold.
it could. The only way it could be perfect is if the storm hits, it's my birthday, and our baby is born. Like that would be just like everything all at once will happen that one day.
The trifecta.
You can't have my birthday.
And then you have to pick a winter-related name for your child.
Yes, we do. We'll have to rethink that.
Stormy? Stormy?
No.
No.
did have to my car. Come on.
Well, I was thinking, no, never mind. You know what I'm talking about if you like reality TV. Anyway, all right, Keith, thanks. Let's check in with Rob Caldwell to see what's coming up at 5:30 on News Center Maine. Hey, Rob.
Hi, guys. Here are some of the stories we'll have for you in the next half hour. Back-to-back snowstorms are a lot of work for anyone, especially, though, for the elderly. Age and disability can make it awfully tough to dig out after a big snowstorm. There is an effort in Augusta to help these folks, but the organizers need a helping hand. I'll tell you all about it. And the former fire chief in Old Orchard Beach has received his sentence for setting a fire in the town he served. I'll tell you about that and more. It's all ahead in the next half hour.
All right, Rob, thanks so much. News Center Now will be right back with Keith Carson to drop some brain.
Names right now. Okay, so Janine sent this question in a couple days ago. I didn't get a chance to get to it until now. By the way, I love if you email me brain drops because it's hard to create one every day, and sometimes it's interesting stuff. Okay, so her question was, how do these icicles defy gravity? How do they curve off to the side? So this is the roof, if you're paying attention. This is kind of your vertical here. So I thought about this for a while. I looked at it and determined it's one of two things that's going on. It's not defying gravity.
Okay.
You can tell by the slope of what's going on in the roof here that most likely these icicles were going with gravity originally. Then all this snow slid and the icicles went with it, right?
Yeah.
And notice at the end here, when the water droplets are coming around, it's starting to go back down to the vertical, the new gravitational force. So I used paint to draw in some lines here. This is very advanced. All right, let's go to the next one because I already got to that. Okay, so basically, if your force of gravity is always directed at the center of the Earth, right? Flat Earthers disagree, but for most normal people, this is what we establish is a real thing. So you can see at the end, it's doing that. The other possibility, if this has been like this for a while, is that the water droplets are coming down with surface tension, right? All the way around this icicle until they get to the point where it is vertical and gravity is taking over. So surface tension on a water droplet can overcome gravity momentarily, right? We've seen it on a shower, right? You see droplets on your shower. It's not defying gravity, but the surface tension is keeping it up there. So these kind of things are interesting. Also, I would clear the roof off. That's another thought I had with this
dangerous
this picture. But again, you can always email me your questions. I would love to answer them. Sometimes I learn something in the process as well, which is always good. In the meantime, guys, you're not going to like the weather over the weekend as we talked about, and into next week. We'll keep an eye on that Tuesday storm. The social media reaction to my post about it, icy. Very icy.
Oh, no pun intended.
Worse than the icicles?
Yes. Yeah. It was the icicle, and they want to stab me with that icicle, I think. That's where we're at right now.
That's violent.
We're cutting you off before this gets out.
Exactly. News Center Maine at 5:30 starts right now.